Okay, so the final part with Millicent was changing her steppers. I've finished Y, I've finished X, I finished A, I'm about to do Z. The hardest part of this was not in fact changing any of the steppers or configuring Mac, it was finding the right tools. So this video specifically is going to be for my non-American friends. So there's the old steppers over there. Alright, now the tools that you're going to need for this. I'm assuming you've got a Minitech and it's been assembled by Minitech. For the A, there's a little bit of a trick when you do this one, right? Its 4 bolts are completely different to all the bolts on the rest of the system. This little hex key here was not part of either of my 2 Imperial key sets. I had to go out and specifically buy this one. I had to take a measurement of that hole and we worked out backwards what it was. So I'm going to try read this for you. It is a... no, I'm not going to get focus. It is a 9/64 Allen key USA. So that's the one that's going to take the A stepper off. It doesn't fit anywhere else in the system, only for that A stepper. Alright, you will need this. Without this, you're screwed. You can't get that A stepper off. Alright, now the A stepper's holding system can be accessed by a little hole. If I put my finger down here on exactly the opposite side underneath, I'll see if I can show the hole. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to or not. There it is, you can just see it. Okay, so that little hole under there, I had to pull my mill off the table and balance it all. So the little hole under there, so you just got to roll your rotary under power until on the inside of that you see a little hollow opening inside there, which is a lug, which takes this size, was it? Yeah, this size hex. Right, so this hex goes inside there, it's only used for this. And this one is a, I don't think it has a size, I think it was one that I just dug out somewhere. So for the purposes of this video, what I might do is just measure that one for you, because there's a little screw inside there that this gets used for. So hang on a tick. Let's find. Okay, so that key, the measurement is 2.91 millimeters. Alright, so that's the key you're going to need. I have no idea what that is in silly American system. That's the key you're going to need to tighten and loosen the grub screw underneath A. Alright, this is the one you're going to use for that. Then, the key that you're going to use the most for the rest of this is going to be this fella over here. Now this works all the screws for the rest of the steppers, top, bottom, right the way through. And this is a 5-32. Alright, also not in my toolkit. So when I've got that one and got that one, and that made my life easier. Now there's one last little one you're going to use, and that's the one for doing the little fellas underneath here that hold the stepper onto the ball screw. Okay, so this guy goes in there, and that undoes those 4 screws in there that loosens the collet that holds these 2 together. Alright, so the actual process of doing it, not that difficult. Alright, so make sure everything's unplugged and off, and what I've been doing is as I've been going through them, I've been plugging in one unit at a time and actually testing them in Mac. Make sure everything is off and unplugged while you're doing this. There can be feedback back into your board and you can actually blow your controller if you do this the wrong way around. Okay, so you undo these 4 bolts, as you can tell I've done with the Z. The Z is just the same as any other axis except it's lying on its side and it has weight. Alright. The reason I'm recording for Z is so that I can show you what you need to do to support it. Alright. So you undo the 4 bolts over there. The whole stepper pulls back, exposing this little collet over here. Alright. So on this little collet, 4 little screws, undo them, pull the whole stepper off, remove the stepper from the system, and there's the other 3 that I've done. Okay, I bring the new stepper, which is here. Alright, what I might do is just pause this video. What I'm going to do while this video is paused is I'm going to undo these 4 bolts. I'm going to pull that stepper off. I'm going to bring this stepper back into the system. I'm going to lock it back on. Alright. Now to get here, what I've had to do, so I'm try and do this with one hand. Hang on a sec. Okay, what I've had to do, as you can tell, Z moves quite freely. Okay, because there's nothing in there to stop it at the moment. I've got a bit of aluminium that I'm using against the table to support Z to stop it from falling back down. Okay, that's just to hold it up here, so I've got some workspace to do all of this while it's doing it for me. So I'm going to undo this over here. I'm going to pull that stepper off. I'm going to put the other one back down and show you how it all locks in and how it then connects to the back of your controller. Okay, so I'm just balancing that camera there. So what's happened is I've actually pulled the stepper off of the Z up there. And you probably, I'm going to see if I can try and do this. Sorry, I'm all on my own here doing this. So you've got the lead screw exposed, no, sorry, it's a lead screw, it's a ball screw. So you've got this exposed, lying open at the top there. And what you have down here is, you have its collet and the little ball bearing jobby that's on the inside there. Okay, I'm going to just balance this over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove everything from here and quite simply just slide it over to there, and then once again just quite simply slide it over to there. Okay, and I'm then going to push these up and I'm going to lock them on. Alright, I'm not able to record that while I'm doing it, but I will show you what's done after. Okay, so this stepper now can be removed from the system completely. It's going to join the other ones back there, and I'm going to put this one back. I'm going to seat it back where it belongs. So that's the screw where your cable is going to go in. So this is the one for Z. So let's pop it back in there. Okay, so that's going to face backwards and come down to the controller and plug in after we've tightened it all up. Alright. So the sort of thing that I had holding for me down here is going to come away. Okay, watch out not to let it drop, let it come down by itself. Okay, then the 4 screws we took out are just going to go back. I'm going to get my wife to pause recording there until I finish tightening that, and we'll show you it all running from the controller. Okay, so it's all locked down, screwed in. Now of course you wouldn't have your cabling lying around like this. This is just for testing purposes. Okay, so I'm going to plug Z in. At this point, once you've gone through cable by cable by cable, it's always handy for down the track to label each cable with a bit of tape. And an indication of which axis it belongs to, because sometimes you can't see the back of your controller at the same time as seeing everything else. Alright, so if I've done everything right now, the only thing I need to check is that my steps per Mac is going to be, let's fire that up. Okay, that my steps per Mac must all be on 2000 instead of 1000. So that you'll find under motor tuning. Z-axis I've preemptively set it to 2000. And I should be able to just watch out for things flying around. There we go. Right, so that's the stepper motors all changed, everybody's happy. We can jog in all the axes and go on to, so that's the last of them done. Thank you. Okay, so all the steppers in, and what I did is I ran around it, just neatened up all my cabling, bundled it all, made sure it all was going good, plugged it back in. I've done some testing before this, so I happen to know that it is working at the moment. Let's fire it up. So the only thing I have left now, basically all the hardware part is done. The only headaches left at the moment is going to be figuring out why my spindle controller is a bit funky. Alright, so let's reset that. Okay, so I've reconfigured all the drives so I can do a home and a probe at this point. What that's going to do is just run it up. It'll touch off on the little Omron on the top. Omron for Y, Omron for X, and we'll jump over and do a tool probe. This can be painfully slow. Like I said, I've left it on 1500 mil a minute, which is for this machine is a learner setting. Come on. Go on, get finished. Gee whiskers. Go on. You can do it. You can do it. Come on. Pink. Alright, that was the touch off. So I'm just going to cut some air for now. Alright, so job done. Good to go. Alright, so let me just bring that down a bit, move it over a bit. I'm just going to home the A-axis as well. Done. Alright, so zero everything out. Let's load up some code. Now Martin was asking me about whether you need to turn off the rotary. Now I don't have anything big in terms of rotary, Martin, and my Mac is doing something weird that I'm not entirely sure. It's displaying my rotary paths as flat. Anyway, so that's supposed to be half of a head. Now at jack, the only way, if I try to switch on spindle now, notice nothing's happening. Okay, turn it on, off, do what I like. The only way to get it to turn it on is to send a speed instruction first. Doesn't matter what speed instruction I send, it doesn't actually change this. Okay, but as long as I've got 6,000 in there and I then hit spindle, now it'll fire the spindle up. Alright, so I think something in the brain is buggy. The brain written for the spindle control is not good. But if I've done that once in a session, that's okay. From now on, MO3 will fire everything up. So at Martin, I'm going to leave the screen on, and I'm going to go cycle start. Fires up the spindle. Did a 0 at X. Yeah, pretty close. Come on. Alright. So as you can tell, really slowly. This must be a very fine increment. You can tell there we definitely got A motion. Command screen is on, and I'm going to crank it up and let's see when we start losing steps. Can't go more than 1200 because my feed rate was set at 400. See some bigger part of the head it's getting to now. Come on, focus camera. Okay, and that's chunking through it, not having any issues. Right, so I hope that answers your question, Martin. For jack, spindle control, I'm happy to work with you guys on the brain to test a couple of things, but definitely no go. Alright, on and off is working, speed control no go, and on and off won't work unless there's an actual value in the spindle speed area. Okay, cheers Chris out.